simply mean waving adieu to the Premiership, while of course the Jets simply must keep accruing points to apply the blowtorch to those currently where they would like to be, and that is in the top 6. The victory theme song, Stand By Me. It's probably a smaller than expected crowd, at least at the moment. We hear that there is 1 or 2 problems on the train line between Melbourne and Geelong. And of course with the hot temperatures, and there's also an air show in progress as well just down the road. So hopefully a few of those latecomers will be here at kick-off. Victory, of course, about to embark upon their 7th Asian Champions League campaign. That starts this week, the start of a run of 4 games in 14 days. The Jets know all about that. They're about to play their 5th inside a similar period. The games come thick and fast at this time of the season, and they are all important. We'll be seeing a bit more of this venue, of course, next year, with Western United playing some games here. They'll hope the temperatures are a bit cooler. 32 degrees it is at the moment, but it has been as high as 39 today, so at least the evening kickoff gives the players a little bit of respite. All right, let's have a check on tonight's team news, and the headline news for the Victory is that Ulla Toivonen is ill and Elvis Kamsoba is out with a knee injury. There are 3 changes in all from the 11 that started the derby against City last week. Storm Rue is back, Lee Broxham is rested. James Donachie gets his first start in his 2nd spell with the club. And Kenny Athew makes just his 7th start of the campaign, up front alongside Costa Barbarouses, who now has 7 goals in his last 7 games. Now, 3 changes for Ernie Merrick's Jets. Out go Ivan Vujica, Matt Rodenton and Kane Shepherd. In come Johnny Katrumbis, Steven Ugarkovic and Lachlan Jackson. Jason Hoffman and Ronnie Vargas remain on the long-term casualty list. Glenn Moss and Nikolai Topor-Stanley both signed contract extensions with the Jets this week. Jai Ingham returns to the bench for Victory after a quad injury. Joey Chamness and Ivan Vujica are off on Ollie Rue's duty next week. They're both in reserve, though, for the Jets tonight. Our referee tonight is Sean Evans, his 87th A-League match, and just the 2nd time he's taken charge of this particular fixture. The first in round 19 last season, when the Jets defeated Victory 2-0 in Newcastle. And giving him a hand, if necessary, in the VAR booth is Chris Griffiths-Jones. Big milestone tonight for James Troisi, who's in among that huddle. His 100th A-League match, all for Victory. He got the winner between these 2 clubs in the last meeting in January. And of course he was substituted at half-time in the derby last week after the sending off of Georg Niedermeyer, which necessitated, of course, a little bit of a tactical rejig for Kevin Muscat and his team. Well, despite the weather, it could be a little frosty in the technical zone tonight. Kevin Muscat and Ernie Merrick, not exactly the best of friends, despite their shared history with Victory. Back in November, Muscat denied claims he'd declined Merrick's handshake post-game in Newcastle, alleging he'd been snubbed for the pre-game welcome. I wonder if they've shaken hands tonight, or will do at the end. We shall see. I suppose it depends on what happens in the 90 minutes, and I am told reliably that they have had the pre-game handshake, at least. Let's see if they're still as cordial after the 90 minutes. Keisuke Honda back after injury now, just his 12th appearance of the season. His first 11 have already produced 6 goals and 4 assists. That is some return. Roy O'Donovan has 3 goals in his last 4 A-League matches, but Victory are the only club in the competition he has never scored against. Tonight is his 10th crack at the Navy Blues. Let's see if he breaks his duck. So it's going to be the Jets in their change strip to get us underway. Countdown is on. And away we go. Of course, it was the grand final fixture last season, but you fancy anything but a win for Newcastle tonight, and the odds of a repeat in May would be fairly long, Andy Harper.
Yeah, g'day, Simon. Well, I liked your opening, Ambit, actually, about Victory needing to win as well to keep pressure on the top. I mean, it just goes to show how much required from both teams, so much at stake. Newcastle need to keep the heat on. Anything less than a win will be hugely deflating, and well, Melbourne Victory need to ensure they keep a full complement of players on the field to make sure they have a chance for the complement of points.
And you anticipate a rather slow opening to the game, given the temperatures, until perhaps it cools down a little bit. Still very hot at kickoff.
Yeah, they're tough conditions, and it is going to have an impact. But, you know, the players are so conditioned through their training regimes and get hit by these heat waves from time to time. I don't think it's necessarily going to change their mentality. I would expect pretty much normal service as far as intensity is concerned.
Here's Daniel Georgievski, formerly of this parish, of course, with the Victory. Played forward by Baena, gets the return off Keisuke Honda. Victory looking to get into their groove pretty quickly. Costa Barbarouses is in a fine patch of goal-scoring forms at the moment. Skips past one, it's Storm Roux to drive it across, and it's just too high, fractionally, for James Troisi. Did get his head on the end of it, and just couldn't control it well enough. Good early chance, though, for the nominal home side. And that would have been some way to celebrate your 100th game in the A-League.
He rose as high as he could, but the ball just too elevated. Nice exchange, great penetration from Barbarouses. Lovely from Antonis. Just half a foot too short to score there. James Troisi.
Just on Barbarouses, this man on the ball, Keisuke Honda, has just laid it off to Storm Roux. We've made this point before during the games, but his giving of that penalty kick against the Wanderers to Barbarouses when he was without a goal as late as December has really lit the touch paper, hasn't it, for the All Whites? He's barely stopped scoring since. Good bit of leadership by Honda.
He has been fantastic, Keisuke Honda, for a whole pile of reasons, and that's one of them. Amazing experience.
And he briefly got beyond Demi Petratos, who stood his ground. Victory throw. Strong start by Kevin Muscat's team. Brought down by Kantarovski and thumped forward to nobody in particular. Thomas Deng tidying up. No win in their last 3 matches now, Melbourne Victory. That's their worst run of the season. And they have, of course, been edged out of second spot by Sydney FC. They were winners over Adelaide United 24 hours ago. Those victories, past 5 results. Those 2 draws and the loss against Perth. Prior to that, 2 solid wins over Sydney FC in the Big Blue, and then narrowly over the Mariners. They want to find a bit of form domestically, and of course they've got that big Champions League opener against Daegu coming up during the week as well.
And the Champions League is something that Melbourne Victory really start to need to start getting some sort of return out of.
Here's Honda. Flipped it towards that back post again, where Troisi was lurking.
Such a dominant team domestically. Have been, well, Victory, a big opportunity, of course, with Keisuke Honda in their ranks for those much anticipated games against the J-League opponent. But there's no doubt that Melbourne Victory want to break the seal of the Champions League. And hopefully this season, this campaign will be the one that does it for them.
Their best result, round of 16. Here's Johnny Katrumbis. Neat footwork to get away from his marker. Jugarkovic inside the penalty area. Jair was waiting for any scraps around the penalty spot. Reset through Kantarovski. Back with the Brazilian Jair. He took charge on the rebound as well, but Honda steps across. Now Nigel Bogart. Jugarkovic. Tony's got a foot in. Matthew trying to lend a hand, but still Victory can't get it clear. And it's out with Dimi Petratos here. Clever run by Jair. Newcastle threatening. Hooked up in the air by Baena. And Georgievski will return it back towards Nikolai Topor-Stanley for the Jets to try and start again. Well, that's clever from Barbarouses. Showed Topor-Stanley a clean pair of heels. Only a few to aim for. Runners arriving now. It's a lovely ball with the outside of the boot. And Antonis couldn't take it in his stride. And then an error by Jackson gives Antonis a second opportunity. And in the end, Victory will have a corner. It might have been a bit more, Andy.
Well, how beautiful is this from Costa Barbarouses on halfway? It's already spoken about. That's just delightful. Now, Nikolai Topor-Stanley is very difficult to beat. He's got a fantastic record at A-League level in those sorts of situations, but Barbarouses just cooked him. Speaking of, the chance ultimately cooked by an uncharacteristically poor touch from Terry Antonis to start with.
First corner of the game, Keisuke Honda with the outswinger. Kenny Athieu got a little piece of it. Georgievski to clear up field for the Jets. So it's Corey Brown, who was once linked with a move to the Newcastle Jets a few seasons ago. Opted to stay with Brisbane at that particular point in his career. And he's back on the ball again here. Troisi. Victory very quickly into their rhythm. Very businesslike about their work. That's a good steal though by Jair. Katrumbis looking to lift it over the top. It's the right idea for O'Donovan, but Thomas Deng had its measure.
That's a nice idea for Katrumbis. Saw the space for Thomas Deng. Started the game well for Melbourne Victory. He covered that ground expertly.
There's the past 5 meetings between these two clubs, heavily favouring the Victory. The Jets haven't beaten Victory in Victoria since 2015. Swept away by Jackson. Honda first to the loose ball. Antonis. Decent run by Barbarouses, but just a little too much in flight.
And nicely marshalled by Topor-Stanley as well, was the run of Costa Barbarouses.
Slipped by Glenn Moss, another former Victory player. Shared duties with Mitch Langerak back in season 9-10 in this neck of the woods. Well, a bit east of here. Honda. Troisi. Antonis. Brown there on the overlap if needs be. It's back with Troisi. Matthew just wouldn't stick. And a very bright start by Melbourne Victory. Now a chance perhaps for Newcastle to create something. Lawrence Thomas and Roy O'Donovan, those two again. O'Donovan's one out. And Thomas Deng made sure that that angle was completely shut off to the Irishman. It was the grand final all over again, Andy. Roy O'Donovan and Lawrence Thomas.
Yeah, and neither decided they were going to back out. In fact, it was Lawrence Thomas who had to sort of drop anchor a little bit. He realised he wasn't going to be able to feint and let the ball run into the safety of his penalty area where he could pick it up. O'Donovan really focused, but what about the interception from Thomas Deng to defuse the situation for Melbourne?
Here's Honda, who's now at 17 touches already in the game. We barely played 10 minutes. There's number 18. Antonis. Trumbus wouldn't give him an angle. Honda might create one for him. Heavy touch by Antonis. Presents Newcastle back with the ball. Jair. It's asking a little too much of Katrumbis. Second game of 3 this weekend, of course, in this split round of 21. Victory's City rivals Melbourne City in action tomorrow against the current A-League leaders, Perth Glory. Referee Sean Evans getting an inadvertent touch, which hasn't pleased the crowd. It's a good, strong surge forward by Jair. No real pressure applied on him by the Victory defence. Barbarosis again. Great touch. Bogart cuts it out, though.
With very, very bright opening 10 minutes, and both teams have had some good moments in possession. Victory with more and looking very crisp. Barbarossa's incredibly sharp. But equally, the home team needs to realise that Newcastle are here to play, and they've had some nice, fluent movements themselves.
Georgievski trying to create one of those at the moment. Looking for the 1-2 with O'Donovan. Thomas Deng says enough of that. Ernie Merrick's game plan was to come out and try and attack. Victory just haven't, in all honesty, let them attack too much in these opening 11 or so minutes. Diana beautifully floated towards Barbarosis. Quite work out between the Kiwi and Troisi. This is Jair, who does well to run that one down. He's around Donachie. A little grab at his shirt. It's a good ball as well. Really intelligent play by the Jets, and O'Donovan just trying to guide it into that far corner. Didn't quite get it right, but it was Newcastle's best moment of the match so far.
Oh, this is beautiful play from Newcastle. Firstly, Jair retrieving the ball. It's a beautiful pass. That's a remarkable effort from O'Donovan. What a goal it would have been. Great play from the Jets, and now it's Victory's turn. Very open start to this match.
Brown. Brave by Bogart. Keisuke Honda. Oh, he got some power behind that one, and Glenn Moss found it a little hot to handle, but managed to hold on. Wearing the captain's armband tonight and trying to lead by example, Keisuke Honda. Two chances at either end in the space of 60 seconds. Maybe another one here. O'Donovan stretching for it. Couldn't get a touch on the ball.
Well, he's had plenty to attack, even in these opening moments. Just 12, 13 minutes gone now. Well, O'Donovan, some nice movement, some good ball into the penalty area of Melbourne Victory. There's end-to-end stuff here in Geelong.
This is a venue that has produced plenty of goals in the past. We heard it in the pre-game show. 4 matches played here, 17 goals. Victory, strangely enough, have only won here once, and that was against the Jets. 4 goals to 2. They're meeting here a couple of years back. Keisuke Honda. Donachie taking control. Troisi. Quite get the touch on the ball that he wanted to spin away from his marker.
This is that beautiful effort. Great camera angle as well. What a swerve. Good bit of work from Glenn Moss in the Newcastle goal, actually. It's the magnificent technique of Keisuke Honda. So reliable.
So Glenn Moss has been rewarded with a year's extension to his contract. Even at the age of 36. Still a vital component to the Jets' starting 11. Quarter of an hour played, and Even if the players are feeling the heat, they're certainly not showing it. Ball is fairly zipped around from both teams. Another example of it. Beautifully flighted out by Antonis towards Barbarouses. Little swivel of the hips, but a few was drawn towards the near post. Honda angled it back towards Troisi. Encouraged to shoot by the Victory fans. Instead, he tried to play in Antonis.
Yeah, well, it's opened up onto his right foot. Not likely to score from that range with his right foot. James Troisi is down to be looking for another option.
Real chance for the Jets today to apply a bit of heat to Wellington Phoenix and Melbourne City, the two clubs directly above them on the A-League ladder. 5 points between Ernie Merrick's team and Wellington in 6th at the start of play.
Well, they pick up a win tonight, which is what we think is mandatory. Then it also puts the burner on Adelaide. Their loss last night against Sydney keeps them with 3 points here for Newcastle. That keeps Adelaide inside as well. So very, very important match. And then tomorrow night, of course, City needing to keep the Dogs at bay.
And the Jets next to an F3 derby against the Mariners, and then a trip to Wellington, the team at the moment that is directly above them. Here's Antonio, slips it through. A few onside. They're queuing up in the middle, but Johnny Katrumbis got back in time. Corner ball.
Well, the worry for Newcastle is that when they decide to go forward, Melbourne Victory are making pretty effective passage. It's onside. His hand had stretched and broken the offside plane, but it doesn't matter. It's got to be a legal body part to score a goal. That's what counts in offside.
There's the Jets' next 5 matches. Crucial ones, all of them. I reckon 4 of those 5, they're plenty as winnable. Sean Evans has spotted an infringement, so pressure relieved on the Jets, who so far, Andy, have had just 29% possession. And there's Honda's vital stats in the opening 17.5 minutes. Not bad, Andy.
Well, there's not a lot else that can be said about KSK Honda's contribution to Melbourne Victory in the A-League. Certainly missed the dozen or so games where he wasn't available. The team managed to roll on nicely.
Tommy Ding getting a bit of a whack off Roy O'Donovan. Hence the whistle for the free kick. Kevin Muscat still has to contend with regular injuries. Carl Valeri still out. Niedermeyer, of course, suspended. Toivonen unwell. Kamsoba with a knee problem. And the 5 Vita players, of which Barbarouses here is one, Honda being another, played together just 7 minutes all season together. Here's Barbarouses, and he thumps it back off the post. Glenn Moss, to be fair to him, will probably say he had all those angles covered. And Barbarouses very close from an acute angle.
And beautiful from Victory again. I don't know if he did have it covered, but
yeah,
he made a
I
good
reckon
effort.
You're right, Andy.
And I reckon in the lead-up, Moss is thinking back to the match last week. I've got to keep the near post covered, because that's exactly where Costa Barbarouses scored last week to level things. Now, having covered that angle, I don't know still if Moss would have been able to say that. It had so much power on it. But at least he was there. And the post did the job for Newcastle.
Lachlan Jackson was spinning out of control there. James Troisi didn't feel as though he had any part to play in that. Sean Evans disagreed. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's a little bit.
Oh.
He was like a whirling dervish there, wasn't he, Jackson?
He was about to do some breakdancing.
He does play the drums, I know that. Kantarowski too slow. Honda blindsides him. A few out for Barbarouses. Here's Honda. Steadies himself. Honda! Oh, great save, Moss. And denies Keisuke Honda for the second time, and that one's a lot better than the first.
Well, you called it so well, Simon. Kantarowski too slow, and Victory too quick in the transition, and this guy's just too good. Beautiful to turn, kill the ball, roll it into the shooting position. This will be a great picture. Look at this footwork from Honda. Magnificent. And the save behind him at full stretch. Superb football.
Top marks for Glenn Moss. Victory again, finding their rhythm, finding their range, but not Storm Roux on that occasion. Jair. Victory have completed just 48 passes so far. Sorry, the Jets, I should say. Completed just 48 passes in the game. Might have a chance here. Sprayed by Thomas. Only as far as Jair. Blocked by Deng. Victory was stretched there. Georgievski retrieves it. Good feet by Jackson. It's just beyond Jair, and Donachie got a foot in. Ugarkovic. The Jets throwing a punch or two. Georgievski, good area for Dimi Petratos. Again, Donachie is forced into the stretch. And Corey Brown to clear upfield. Great action, Andy.
Really a great sequence from Newcastle. And we're seeing in these last few weeks the player in Jair that was supposed to be the full stretch again. It was O'Donovan bearing down. That's magnificent as well. Beautiful. The shot wasn't on target, I can report. We had a great angle in live play, and that left foot shot was going to go wide, but beautiful, beautiful. Storm Roux with no idea what to do. This is the warning for Victory, who've been clearly the dominant team. But Newcastle have got enough about them today in the front third to hurt the defending champions.
They've got it here through Daniel Georgievski, who's trying to guide it towards Jair. Wouldn't that have been a spectacular strike on goal? But for Storm Roux, got his body in the way.
Well, they've found the key to the lock for Jair. He's really starting to come into his own. A bit of a slow burner arrived in the city of Newcastle, underdone. Took a few weeks to get anything like up to match speed, by which time he sort of lost the jump on people, and now with this opportunity, he's showing what he's got.
Georgievski showing us what he's got. Katrumbis heavy touch took him away from goal rather than where he wanted to go. And all of a sudden, Victory having to do a bit of defending. Kantarowski. And there's a bit of space perhaps to drive into for Dimi Petratos. Jair on the left. They're starting to queue up in the middle. And Jair can't find the gap. But a good little spell for Ernie Merrick's team.
Well, they've got enough about them at the moment, Newcastle. They really know what's at stake here. They've managed to salvage their season with some positive results in the last few weeks. They've got enough talent in the squad for sure to be landing some blows still in the competition. It's all on the line here in Geelong for them. They've really come into their own again in the last 5 minutes, as we just saw on the screen. Very, very watchable, this one, Simon.
Yep, it's been good entertainment, despite the conditions. The Jets, as you rightly point out, have got plenty to contribute, and passes like that from Corey Brown help as well. Straight at Katrumbis, and the Jets are back on the ball. Petratos got it stuck between his feet just a little bit, and Troisi sweeps it out towards Athieu. It's Kenny Athieu. It's not quite for Melbourne Victory. And he still waits for that second A-League goal.
Yeah, it is taking a while, but I honestly think Kenny Athieu has a hat full of goals in him. I love the way he set up Nigel Burgard there. Lockie Jackson then stretched in to add some assistance, but he's got a lot of goals in him. Needs games, tough at a big club like this. will learn in the process from the likes of Toivonen. The Mokba Stadium. Are we in Russia?
Officially, of course, it's a GMBHA stadium, but you were pointing out to us pre-game you thought as though it looked like Russian.
Well, maybe it's because I got my World Cup T-shirt on. I don't know, but...
Yeah, it does look a bit like the stadium names we saw in Russia last year. The Mokba Stadium.
The Mokba Stadium. Who says this isn't a global game?
Honda going short from the corner. Change of angle. Back post is Donachie. So too was Jackson for the Jets. Trumba sneaking in, and Corey Brown out of position, galloping back now to try and get back level with Georgievski. He tries to slip it through for O'Donovan, but Storm Roux well positioned. Barbarouses. Slightly too far in front of Storm Roux. The two Kiwis not quite on the same wavelength.
They move so swiftly, though, don't they, Melbourne Victory? When they're in that open play and they're in the momentum, Newcastle are finding it really difficult to contain them, just in an athletic sense, you know, bursting through midfield. They're finding it difficult, the Jets, to turn and run. Keep up with the Victory team. It's a big difference between them at the moment.
Some holding by Lachlan Jackson on Costa Barbarouses has presented Keisuke Honda with another opportunity to perhaps try and work the angles, which of course he's perfectly capable of doing. And Glenn Moss just has to be mindful of that near post. He's got a two-man wall guarding it. Does Honda try and drive it towards goal, or float it for a teammate? It's into a good area, wasn't it? Came off a Jet's head. Another corner. It should be the Victory's fourth.
Well, Nigel Burgard hit the turf here. He's just asking the ref what that was all about. Sean Evans says we're going to get on with it. Good defensive header from O'Donovan to see that danger away. That was fiercely hit free kick.
Honda again. Moss didn't get really good distance on it. Set up by Baena, and the curler by Antonis is slightly off kilter.
Well, not as spectacular as some of his work today, but really effective goalkeeping from Glenn Moss. That ball was hit with wicked depth. He punched the ball nicely. And Newcastle, their defence stretch, this is the Honda burst. Don't recover really that well at all. It's taking them so long to get players back, and then the use of the body to see off Nigel Burgard, who did try to recover, but you know, once the line was breached, that was the first problem. Then the next problem is dealing with the quality of the players we're talking about. Beautiful work that from Honda.
Ernie Merrick, winner of 2 championships during his days as Victory coach, when Kevin Muscat, of course, was his lieutenant on the field as captain. And he knows that 3 points are pretty much a must for Newcastle here tonight. We'll give Wellington Phoenix, of course, the team in 6th at the moment, Andy, a whole week to think about that. That gap that looked so impregnable at one stage would therefore be down to just 2. Here's Roux. Honda. Roux wants some movement. Gets it from Troisi. It's clever. And get rid of Ugarkovic. Troisi. Mathieu. Honda. Troisi. Corey Brown now has pushed forward. Finds the gap. Honda is building nicely before Jackson sweeps it away for the Jets. Very watchable opening half an hour here in Geelong. Plenty of chances at either end. Rue. Little drop to the shoulder. Gets away from Jair with ease. Shouldn't really have got through that. Lovely backheel by Barbarouses. It's James Troisi. And it's a good block by Nigel Bogard. And had to be. Because that was building into something really special for victory. Here's Jair for Newcastle. Turns into trouble. Retrieves the situation. Well played. And then drives into that little gap in midfield. There was a foul there by Troisi, but good advantage played by Sean Evans. Petratos. Oh, that wasn't far away.
Well, they're just holding on defensively, Newcastle. Been stretched and battered and throwing their bodies to block the shots, but in their own transition phase, they're looking like they've got some potential tonight. That shot from Dimi Petratos really needed to be better with the time that was available to him, but a good sequence from Jair again. Most impressive in that, Simon, was having been beaten by Storm Rue in the Victory's last attack.
That's just what happens here. O'Donovan trying to lob it over the top of Lawrence Thomas. That would have been cheeky.
And then losing that ball initially when he first picked it up, Jair I'm talking about, then had the attitude to go and win it straight back, and then the attack played out for Newcastle. And it's those little moments that coaches sometimes find really heartening with their players.
Barbarouses, I was just about to say his touch has been so sure tonight, and of course he goes and messes up as he tries to link up with Kenny Athieu. But he's just right in that groove at the moment, isn't he, Costa Barbarouses? You sense it sometimes with players.
Yeah, he's in great nick. Victory in general have looked good tonight, moving the ball so beautifully. Control and pass and move. Been too much for Newcastle at times.
It was good strength shown, though, by Steven Ugarkovic. Georgievski. Petratos is on the move. It's going to be a corner for Newcastle, which is going to be their first of the game.
Yeah, and the Jets focusing on their attack. They're really trying to roll that ball in behind the Victory defence, but I've got to say, Thomas Deng has been completely up to it tonight. Stretched beautifully, anticipated well all night so far.
Dr. Stanley, an obvious threat. Bogart's in there as well. Jackson too. Aerially it goes, and over the top, was it Kantarovski who got on the end of that?
I think it was the skipper.
Bogart.
Might have done better. Tough situations to defend, just so many.
That was Benny Kantarovski. Well done. Don't you question me, Mr.
No, you better give me your specs, mate.
His best goal-scoring season last year, of course. Ben Kantarovski hit 5, which is almost nosebleed territory for him in terms of the goal-scoring stakes. Yet to open his account this season. Here's Jair. Gets away from Honda. Still going. That's not a bad delivery either. Flicks off the head of Deng. Georgievski first to it, and a chance for Ugarkovic, and he gets a second bite. Must be, it is. Johnny Katrumbis, unmarked, fires it into the net. Newcastle lead, and it's an unlikely source that provides it. Johnny Katrumbis.
Well, they've held on desperately enough for just these moments, and it's the Brazilian again who's ignited the attack. Took a couple of efforts once they got into the danger zone. You'd thought Ugarkovic was going to finish it from there. It falls fortuitously for Johnny Katrumbis, and he makes no mistake. But it's Jair who sets things going. It's Katrumbis who finishes it. And probably against the balance of the statistics, well, definitely, it's the Jets up.
Well, it's just a third ever A-League goal for Johnny Katrumbis. And he could barely miss from that range. And thankfully for the Jets fans, he didn't. And you'd probably say for John Katrumbis, who of course has had such health issues and has done brilliantly to recover from those this season, that's probably a bit of payback for that deflection they got on the end of Costa Barbarouse's effort in the grand final, Andy. He wasn't credited with the own goal. Here's Kenny Athieu as Victory looked to strike back immediately. They appeal for handball. Sean Evans says chest.
I couldn't see much, honestly, but it looked like to me was his arm already in front of his body.
I'd like to see that one again.
I think we might get a chance to.
Here we go.
I don't think that's handball. No penalty.
No, I don't think that's can be construed as being deliberate. Chris Griffiths-Jones in the VAR box, clearly not interested either.
Oh, he's interested.
He's always interested. Well, balance of play. Victory will probably feel they're a little unfortunate to be behind, but Newcastle have had their moments. And they've had the one that counts so far.
Well, it's the adage, it's the old adage, Simon, isn't it? Newcastle have been good in both penalty areas. They've struggled across the midfield. The Victory have just looked so sharp. Here they go again. But Moss has saved really well twice. Defenders in front of him have done the job on a couple of other occasions in throwing their bodies. And right from the get-go, even though they haven't had a lot of ball, the Newcastle attackers looked up for it tonight. It's up to the Victory now. See if they can keep in the same groove mentally. And what does the goal do for Newcastle? Does that spur them onto greater things, or do they get a little bit comfortable?
Well, there's the as-live ladder. If it stays this way, as we mentioned a few minutes ago, Newcastle would move to within 2 points of Wellington in 6th and 3 of Melbourne City in 5th. Squeaky bum time, Andy. It's Sir Alex Ferguson famously.
Yeah, it's a great looking table. And I love it when the live tables come up on match days. Really refocuses your attention as a spectator as to what the players are trying to achieve.
Corey Brown, good delivery. Tempting for Kenny Athieu.
Nice ball. Really nice ball from Corey Brown. I thought Kenny Athieu, after giving him a big rap as a potential goal scorer, I thought he might have handled that one a little bit better.
So Victory falling behind for the 5th consecutive game. That will be an irritation for Kevin Muscat.
Just a foul by Anna. Just a little bit of a half headlock. Yeah, well, they've improved their first half from last week, and not to mention the send-off from Niedermeyer, but they were flat last week, even before then. Second half was much better from Victory. Got themselves back in the game, but this first half from Melbourne Victory is not a performance that deserves to be chasing the game at the moment. Played some really nice stuff, and Glenn Moss, just to repeat, with those 2 outstanding saves in the Newcastle goal.
Here's Troisi. Brown. And Tonis had a little reverse ball. Nobody from Victory is gambling on getting in the penalty area. They're a little bit sloppy there. Athieu and Barbarousse is a bit slow to react from that very intelligent ball from Antonis, which sent Corey Brown away. Brown again, returning the compliment. Antonis gets the byline. Again, Athieu drawn towards the near post. And it's too far for Barbarousse at the back stick.
And they get out of jail. Jair making good ground to help defend. Tried to lump the ball to a safer area. Cannons off Storm Row, and look at the work of the Newcastle players drifting in without being picked up. Katrumbas free once, still free for the crucial second moment. Johnny on the spot, literally.
Hero of the hour at the moment. Newcastle way. Of course, the Jets. If you look at the form graph of the two clubs head-to-head, they're in better nick at the moment than Victory. Beaten in the last four, a couple of wins, a couple of draws.
They're getting a bit of a run, and it's eluded them most of the season because they've finished badly, and their finishing has been bad. And they've been playing without a bit of luck, but they've managed to turn the dial on that. They've also rearranged themselves in this game. Their back three and two overlapping fullbacks has changed to a back four, and that's helped stem the tide a little bit.
Georgievski's seen plenty of the ball in that advanced position on the right. Now it's with Jair on the left, looking to come inside and hit one with his right foot. Tratos had a swing at it, then Ugarkovic! Oh, that's a fine save by Lawrence Thomas. And he had to get down smartly and put a strong right arm out to deflect it behind for a corner.
Well, Petratos goes for the specky, and it's an air swing. And the spectacular part out of that is the work from the goalkeeper. Extraordinarily difficult to get a read on that and adjust, and he does brilliantly. Lawrence Thomas.
Corner taken by Jair. It's not got where Victory wanted to go, and Corey Brown's header was a similar sort of scenario brewing, but they've been helped out by Sean Evans' whistle. Going to have to go again. Jackson too tall for Barbarossas. Troisi too good for Kantarovski. Topple Stanley too experienced to fall for that. It's been a really good first half.
Thoroughly entertaining first half. Two teams playing for so much, and point we repeat. Deng's been outstanding. Only Merrick will be really happy with the way his team has held it together defensively, and thrilled to bits that they've attacked with such precision and opportunism when they've had the chance. It's looked very, very dangerous. The game is just set up beautifully for the second half.
There's O'Donovan. Jets looking to go into the dressing rooms. 2 goals to the good. Those shot statistics really underline just how attacking this first half has been. 18 efforts on goal in the first half so far. And remember, the Victory had only the 1 shot on target in the entire 90 minutes last week in the derby. Here's Ugarkovic. Trumbis again in a good area. Georgievski across to help him out, to dispossess Thomas Deng, but he's carried the ball out. Goal kick.
Very disappointing for the Jets. And they worked the ball to the right-hand side really well. Impressive combination between Ben Kantarovski and Ugarkovic on the near touch line. A lot of hurdles to negotiate, and they managed some beautiful interplay to get the ball out into the expanses of the right flank.
James Donachie to get Victory moving again, but time's starting to run out, first half at least. Don't expect there to be too much time added on. An awful lot of stoppages. Antonis. Lifts it over the top beautifully into the path of Troisi. Kantarovski stuck to him like glue. Well defended. There we go, just the 1 minute to be added. Here's the goal scorer, Johnny Katrumbis.
And there's the great work defensively of Kantarovski to run down Troisi. Promising for Melbourne Victory at that moment.
Might be promising here for the Jets. Could they find a second goal? Jair Petratos. Jair again. Pings it out effortlessly towards Georgievski. They're working the ball well here. Beautifully done. Katrumbis. Well, perhaps 2 goals. A little bit too much to ask for Johnny K.
Now, this is a recurring theme at the moment. Players with good technique, and Katrumbis is in that category. I mean, he just plays such an efficient game. And the ball bounces inside the penalty area and chance to score. Technique completely goes out the window.
Well, he's off with the Ollie Roos, their camp in Canberra next week. Johnny Katrumbis. He's had a big first 45, as have the Newcastle Jets in total. Ernie Merrick's face, of course, won't really tell that story. It rarely does. The Victory have played some really good stuff. They've hit the post through Costa Barbarouses, but they remain blank at the break. And Johnny Katrumbis is the only goal scorer for the Jets, who've had some really good moments as well. Good entertainment here in Geelong. Hopefully more to come in the second half. And the break, it is Melbourne Victory 0, Newcastle Jets 1.
Go the boys!
Yeah, I know. I'm watching it. Watching 2 games at once.
Spectators must comply with the GMBHA terms of admission and the venue's conditions of entry, including provisions relating to security screening and intoxication. Any spectator identified with a prohibited item or assessed as unduly intoxicated may be refused entry, evicted from the stadium, potentially banned from attending further matches, and handed over to police for further questioning. We ask you respect your fellow spectators by refraining from illegal and dangerous activities.
Half-time here at GMBHA Stadium. Surprise scoreline. Victory trailing 1-0 at the break against the Newcastle Jets. You can hear the game on Football Nation for promoter Building Australia. Ronnie Vargas, what did you make that first half? Entertaining.
Yeah, fantastic first half. Both sides going at each other. Newcastle clearing their goal. The relentless pressure was fantastic to see. Victory on the other hand still some firepower. Hopefully we create some good chances and get Kenny forced into the top position.
The goal, Johnny Contreras, great story for him. Like he was going to be out for a lot of the season, made an early recovery from his lung cancer scare at the start of the season, and now just a great story. He's scored his first goal of this season.
Yeah, fantastic for him. Sure for his family. It's all credit to him to get back and play again and he's scoring. Hopefully more for him.
What do we expect in the second half?
Yeah, I hope it's more goals. Like I said, I think we need to keep Victory needs to keep Kenny out and get the focal point and get him going forward.
Second half coming up here in July. You can listen to it on Football Nation. All thanks to Kubota, Building Australia.
Enjoy the comfort and take your productivity to a whole new level with Kubota's range of skid steer and compact trailers. Running through the rough and tough with a powerful and capability Tier 4 engine, while the incredibly lift and awesome load capacity make loading one of the biggest of trucks that much easier. And right now, take advantage of a 0% finance rate on all new models. Seal the deal and speak to your Kubota dealer today.
Well, you must be the happiest man in Geelong right now. Tell us about the tactical tweak you made in the first half.
We were getting caught down our right-hand side. I switched Daniel over, changed the midfield a little bit to make sure we didn't get caught out there. And then I thought we'd really come into the game. We did really well, getting into really good goal-scoring positions as well.
Thanks, Ernie.
Thanks.
Well, Kevin, you had plenty of chances in that first half. 1-0 down. How do you reconcile that?
Yeah, you're right, Trevor. I thought there was, for long periods in that half, there was, some very good stuff. But again, we find ourselves in the position where we've conceded first. If anything, we, from history, we've responded really well. So, hopefully we see. Well, the idea is to see a lot more of that first half with a really good response.
Thanks for joining.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, the 5th game in a row that Kevin Muscat's team has fallen behind. The good news for him is that they've lost just one of those, and his victory team have scored 26 second-half goals so far this season. That's 4 more than any other team. So still plenty of work for the Jets to do if they're to get this win that they so desperately want. Johnny Katrumbis, the man with the all-important goal so far. The Jets, 1,219 days since their last won in this state. It's almost 4 years. They've got a big chance here to end that and to make a move on the top 6. A victory, no doubt. Andy Harper will have plenty to say about that. Do you expect them to come out all guns blazing, which, to be fair, they try to do right from the first whistle?
Yeah, I don't know that necessarily Victory had to change a lot. They've been very, very good. Last week, Kevin Muscat had work to do at half-time, and as we've seen plenty of times, he manages to find the answer. I couldn't exactly tell you hand on heart what might have been the topic of discussion for him at half-time. He'd have to have been happy with his team. So maybe that was the message. Just keep doing what we're doing. It will come. Glenn Moss isn't going to be able to save absolutely everything if you keep peppering away at the goal.
Here's Corey Brown trying to thread it through for Antonis. Gap wasn't really there. Good control by O'Donovan. Good manoeuvring by Sean Evans to get out of the way to allow Ugarkovic to continue. Here's Jair. It was very impressive first half. Good ball in towards O'Donovan at the near post as well. Looking to readjust and float it towards that back post, but nobody gambled for the Jets.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a waste from O'Donovan. A little bit more quality, concentration. That's not a problem with quality with Roy O'Donovan. A bit more concentration there. Jair again with the burst down the right-hand side, left-hand side rather. Very good game from the Brazilian so far.
Antonis down the line for a few. Looking to attack Bogart. He's twisted away from him. It's a good delivery, but Barbarouses couldn't apply the finishing touch. Rue to retrieve. Now it's with Honda outside of the boot. Oh, Barbarouses got it horribly wrong. And just diverted the ball up onto his own hand. Hence the whistle for the free kick.
Interesting. Only in as much as if a defender does that, does the referee give a penalty for intentional handball?
Yeah, it's a fair question.
And that he has not meant to handle that. But it's an easy one, isn't it? Because, you know, it's just an attacker.
Your true colours are showing, Andy. But you're right, it's an interesting question.
It was a decent air swing from Costa.
Yeah. Total mishit. On towards Katrumbis, who's the most advanced Newcastle Jet again. He's enjoying himself,
That has been a feature. Yeah, it's been a feature, particularly since the Jets have scrapped the back three and gone to 4 midfielders, and Katrumbis pushing up from a higher starting position and a little bit more tucked in, not playing as wide as that right midfield, as the right midfielder now, and he really is adding to the attack nicely.
Petratos risky. He's got away with that. And perhaps got a little excited as a result. Played forward by Deng for Troisi. It's comfortable enough for Bogart. Kantarovski. Petratos went too early. Intervention by Brown. Honda. Antonis. Troisi, just a little look over the shoulder to see where Honda was. Got down by Baena. Victory looking to move the ball quickly along the ground. Donachie. Brown, Antonis. Honda for Brown. Troisi, it's good first-time football by Victory this. Athieu. Brown to continue the run, he's onside here. Athieu! That's a superb finish by Kenny Athieu to draw Victory level. Just his second ever A-League goal. Or is it? Or is it? No. It's going to be ruled out for offside.
Corey Brown.
It's marginal, but it looks the right decision.
Yeah, it's the right decision. Unfortunately, because everything else was beautiful.
Yeah.
And Victory will be obviously very disappointed that that flowing attack hasn't been rewarded. And so too Kenny Athieu. He must look at that and think, there are goals in me. I certainly believe there are. It was just such good play, and by Athieu, not just the finish.
That's unfortunate for Victory. Brown was just half a metre the wrong side. So far as Kevin Muscat's team are concerned, and Newcastle breathing a big sigh of relief. And you're right, Andy, what that goal would have done for Kenny Athieu's confidence. Needs one, doesn't he? Diana. Backhanded by Katrumbis.
Well, he's got, I think, a lot of football in front of him. It's a matter of an opportunity from here, and of course, to score goals, you make the opportunity. It's tough at a club like Victory. Victory's given him the chance in the A-League, and he's shown plenty. I don't think there's any doubt that he can do it. The resources at Melbourne Victory and the imperative for success and their ability to attract big-name players like Toivonen, who's been a massive success for the club. It does peg the likes of Kenny Athieu back a little bit.
So when you get your chance, you have to take it. Certainly took that one well enough. And he wasn't the man who was the wrong side of the line. That was Corey Brown.
You know, there might be a little bit of spotlight on Kenny for maybe delaying the pass to Corey Brown just that fraction.
Tonis drives into space. Athieu onside. Victory have got the decision. As you can hear, Daniel Georgievski, and apologies for the industrial language, does not agree with that. And I have to say, I thought he's got a bit of a point here.
He's clearly kicked it out. If there's any, the whistle goes and you think, oh, the ref's going to give him a free kick. All right, well, that then becomes a debatable point. It is a free kick, so fair enough, as long as it's not a throw-in.
Antonis, good shape to the cross. Cleared by Bogard for now. Retrieved by Diana. Victory still with plenty forward. Hooked into the box by Troisi. Topo Stanley was there, and then helped further cleared by Jackson. And Georgievski gets it up and over halfway. Diana. Snapped down by Donachie towards Roux. Honda. Stretched by the Spaniards, Diana. Now a bit of room for Roux. Can only find Topo Stanley with his delivery. Charged down illegally by the arm of Raul Baena. Pressure relieved on the Newcastle Jets.
Difficult for Newcastle to get out. It's really focused. Away from Victory, out of possession.
Fair to say, Ernie Merrick's team are in the most important 45 minutes of their season so far. Have a slender advantage. They know that Victory will come at them second half. They have done already. Victory get the benefit of the doubt for the throw.
I don't know what doubt there was. Clearly came off James Troisi. At any rate, they've survived Newcastle.
Donovan giving chase here, but it's always going to favour Lawrence Thomas.
So the difference between this half and the first half is that Newcastle aren't looking anything like.
Barbarouses. Oh, the bounce favoured Moss. One Kiwi keeping it away from the clutches of another.
Jets are not looking at all as dangerous as they were in the first half. In these passages of play, maybe they can do something now.
Ugarkovic. Slide rule pass for Katrumbis. Demi Petratos. Oof, well, that was moving, and it'll be interesting to see on the replay just how close that was. He's had a couple of sighters from that sort of range, Petratos.
Well, he's blasted away all year, pretty much to no effect. And this, I think, was very close. Good effort from the Jets. They work now to try and pinch the ball high up in Victory's territory. And it's a tight thing. You've got to make sure if you're going to go, you're going to win it. And now if Victory have the desire, and it's turned slowly, that's going to close the space up.
Won't find its way through to a few, despite the ooze from the crowds. Bogart did really well, and then second time around, how about the footwork to get rid of Keisuke Honda? You could say perhaps he gambled a little bit there, but I'm not sure what else he could really have done. He had to rely on his football smarts there, Nigel Bogart, and he was good enough to get out of it.
In the end, it worked nicely. This is the guy who ignited the Jets in the first half. Jair, it's going to fall to him again. Get the Jets breathing some fire once more, put the Victory back in their box. It's going to be the best way to maintain their lead.
Ugarkovic, Petratos available. Top of the box again. Georgievski. Katrumbis couldn't protect it well enough. Victory have turned it over immediately again to Topos Stanley. Little jab forward by Jackson. Kantarovski to drive into that pocket of space. There's nobody pushing forward wide on the left until eventually Jair obliges. It's a good stretch by Athieu. And the Jets are caught in numbers upfield here. And Victory press home that numerical advantage. Keisuke Honda slaloms away from Kantarovski. Athieu on target again, but Glenn Moss once more equal to it. Game's opening up. And now Victory have to turn and chase. Jair on the left. And he steams past Storm Roux. And the cross was betwixt and between.
Game all of a sudden taking on a more familiar pattern. Kantarovski gave the ball away and then left in the wake of Honda. Spectacular effort from Kenny Athieu, but I can tell you that Keisuke Honda was none too pleased by the outcome there. He was most demonstrative in his disapproval, unlike him, certainly to be so, for it to be such a public display. And then the Jets back up. And when Jair decides to go, he's pretty hard to track. That was a blistering burst down the far side.
Just moved through the gears, didn't he, Jair? And left Storm Roux trailing in his wake. As for Honda, you do sense that he is Kevin Muscat's lieutenant on the field. He's the modern-day Kevin Muscat, isn't he? As Muscat was to Ernie Merrick back in the day. 3 degrees of separation. Or is it 6 degrees? Is that the phrase? Whatever it is, you know what I mean.
Oh, I think it's 6, but taking into account inflation.
Yeah. Awkward to control for a few.
Bit of chin music there from Kenny.
At least we know he's not got a glass jaw. Straight up and about.
Had a sink. O'Donovan went, ball didn't come, so he checks off, then the ball goes. It's frustrating for the striker, any striker in that situation. after the opening few minutes. There's Honda. There's the reaction from Keisuke. That was the shot from Kenny Athew. The last attack of substance from Melbourne Victory.
It's well worked by Baena out to Roux. Dangerous ball in low, but Topper Stanley deals with it. Decision is a corner, though, for Melbourne Victory. We're approaching the hour mark. Kevin Muscat is also about to make his move for the first time off the bench. Lee Broxham is getting ready to come on. And they're told it might be James Troisi to be withdrawn for the second time. Second time in a week. After the derby, of course, but perhaps being saved for the Champions League on Tuesday. It's maybe the theory. Brown's attempted delivery, charged down, and then a real up and under by Katrumbis. Awkward to judge for Deng, and then a foul by Petratos. And Victory will just delay that change for the moment. Troisi gets a reprieve for a minute or so. Pointed forward by Donachie. 2 appeals for hands there against Keisuke Honda. Not heeded. Tonis. It's cleverly worked. Storm Roux. Barbarouses, and it took a touch and went over the top. It will be another corner for Melbourne Victory.
That's beautiful. Beautiful from Victory. And with Honda in the team, this is when they're at their most dangerous. You receive the ball right on the touchline, and then Jinx in, links up with a square ball or a diagonal. And that diagonal goes to Antonis, who finds Storm Roux, and then it's the Newcastle defenders that deflect the ball over. Great attack from the Victory.
Here's that change. So James Troisi takes his leave. He'll be back, no doubt, in the starting lineup on Tuesday night at Amy Park against Daegu in the Champions League. And Lee Broxham is with us. There he is, the man for all positions. Donovan meets Honda's corner at the near post. They get another go, Melbourne Victory. Broxham's appearance off the bench ends a run of 14 consecutive starts. Good shout, good punch by Moss. Still plenty forward for Victory. Barbarouses lets it run. Baena. Broxham at the back post, and Donachie just waited for it to drop. Moss too, and he almost misjudged that, Glenn Moss.
Did he call keeper and then not go for it?
Yeah, I think you might be right. And then the bounce almost deceived him as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he called out keeper then, and then it's nearly snookered him. At any rate, a little bit of confusion in the Jets' defence. Certainly caused confusion in the commentary box here, Simon, I'm not ashamed to say.
Well, given his saves in the first half, press will give him that
one. It didn't go in. The main thing for Ernie Merrick's team, their lead is maintained. Moss has been magnificent tonight, but Victory are coming. They've played some beautiful stuff.
And the lead is a fragile one. Still Johnny Katrumbis with the only goal on 34 minutes. Tonis goes into a good area in the penalty box. Helped on by Athew. Sliced up into the air by Georgievski. Newcastle desperate to get out, but can't do so. And sat very deep at the moment. Baena. Jair trying to break that line. Back come the Victory. Honda. Looking to go around Ugarkovic. He's done really well. Fires it across the face, but Athew couldn't get a touch on it. And now the pressure will be relieved. It came off Corey Brown, last goal kick.
We've gone past the hour mark. Normally, coaches start thinking, right, if we've got something off the bench that can change things, maybe it's time. This is Honda again. Just dropped that in quite beautifully. Made space, hit it with a right foot. It's his left which does most of the damage. Just goes to show the quality. Ernie Merrick making his assessment. I just wonder, think back to that Melbourne City Victory at home. I just wonder how long till it's Champness time. If Victory keep pushing up, and Newcastle haven't quite looked as cutting edge on the counter-attack in the second half as they did on the first. I'll be starting to consider Joey Champness from a Newcastle viewpoint. Try and break things open a bit.
No Joey C as yet. We are going to see Jai, I think, presently. Jai Ingham, that is. Maybe even a double change for Victory, because Anthony Lesiotis is warming up as well. Both receiving instruction. Here's Donachie meantime. The Jets need to try and break this spell, otherwise you fancy Victory at some point will conjure up a goal from somewhere. Antonis, that's cleverly done, little reverse ball, and Barbarouses again drives it across the face. But you sense it might not be too long before that equalizer arrives, Andy, if this pattern of play continues.
Well, the penetrating passes are just not stopping at all. And the Jets, you know, this is really poor defending, because they had Terry Antonis going away from goal, and then they just let him turn, face, and release a runner. And the danger was created.
There's the Victory subs. Here's Petratos, wriggles clear of Donachie, and Roy O'Donovan with a golden chance, maybe to make the game an awful lot safer for Newcastle, but he's blazed away at that effort.
Well, O'Donovan did very, very well to make this chance in the first place by winning the ball off Deng. Petratos did well. That is such a good chance. You're not convinced how many sights at goal the Jets are going to get in this second half like that.
Still, his record of never having scored against Victory continues. He's got a bit of a blind spot when it comes to Melbourne Victory. Certainly seems that way. It's a decent intervention by Kantarovski. He's going to have to go again here because Barbarouses is on the ball. It's Keisuke Honda. Even the great man can't hit the target.
Rare thing. It was a miss hit. Sliced it. But again, the Jets got to tighten up around the box. They've got numbers there, but there's not enough closing down of the ball, and they're going to pay the price if they don't tighten that up. Big difference between things we're comparing teams from the Southern Capital, Victory, and Melbourne City, is that Melbourne Victory have got a Keisuke Honda, who, if you keep giving him opportunities around the edge of the box, he'll score, or he'll make sure someone else does. The Jets aren't going to have the luxury of a team not putting them to the sword if they don't tighten up.
Those pass completion stats sort of underline that as we watch Jair race away again from the Victory defence. Clever ball back towards Petratos. Deft touch by Ugarkovic, and he almost found his way through with a second little flick of the boot. Not quite. It's with Jair. Donachie got enough purchase on the ball. Now there's open pasture ahead of Costa Barbarouses. The Jets stretched here. Antonis to his left. Barbarouses might not need it, going on his own. And Topor Stanley with the vital intervention to prevent the equaliser. Another corner for Victory. But Newcastle were really stretched.
Well, again, it's the penalty area defence of Newcastle that saves the day. They cut to ribbons in transition. Kantarovski can't make up the ground. Antonis bursting into a free space on the near side. But in the end, Jackson shepherding Barbarouses just enough, and Topor Stanley intervening.
We'll head towards that near post. Matthew foraging away for it. We are past the midway point of the second half. And Sean Evans just calling a halt to proceedings for a moment. I imagine he's having a conversation with Griffiths-Jones. There was, I think, one or two shouts for a handball inside the penalty area there. Maybe just clearing that issue up. We'll continue for now. Antonis, rather Honda aiming for Antonis. And it comes to naught. Here's The first change for the Newcastle Jets. It's going to be the end of the section for Jair. Was really good in the first half. And Ernie Merrick is going to replace him with younger legs in the shape of Joey Champness. Jair's contribution was terrific in that first half. And he walks away, far side of the pitch. And Joey C, as you alluded to some minutes ago, Andy, is perhaps that little bit of extra pep off the bench that Ernie Merrick's team needs, just to steady the ship. This is Deng. Gets it back off Brown. Into the last 20 minutes. It's poor from Deng. Left it short. Helped out by Broxham. Ball still in play. Thomas forcing Diana to readjust.
I'm just digesting that Newcastle change. And no surprise, of course, that Joey Champness comes on, but I don't know that Jair had actually lost his zip. He was still burning if he got the opportunity. And I'd like to have seen Jair be able to combine.
That's an important intervention by Kantarovski. Could create something here for the Jets, but Tratos, Deng sticking with him.
And the way I see it, this is an opportunity, a bit of a reprieve for Tratos, because you know, I haven't seen that he's actually been causing the trouble he might be.
Here's Barbarouses in behind Topostani. The angle is narrow. Cuts back onto the left boot. Still Costa Barbarouses. Oh, the challenge by Topostani. Short Evans in close attendance is happy enough with it. And on we go. And here is Joey Champness on the left. Little steppo to try and get around Rue. It might just squeeze through for O'Donovan. It's a weak clearance by Donachie. And Katrumbis was drawn towards the near post. And the VAR is having another look at this challenge by Topo Stanley on Barbarouses.
He does well.
They've given it the all clear, Andy.
Well, I just think you have to. The referee was like 2 metres away. Let the referee's decision count there. Topo Stanley did very well in the first instance. There's no question there's contact. Is it material and does it...
It's the upper body contact, and I'm sure Chris Griffiths-Jones was looking at whether there was excessive force. Anyway, clearly Chris Griffiths-Jones has decided there's not enough in that.
Well, particularly, hopefully, on the wide shot, when the guys in the VAR can see that the ref has an unimpeded view and is 2 metres away, isn't that good enough?
Oh, Katrumbis has been cleaned up by Donachie. And we got the first yellow card of the game.
That's a story in itself. 72 minutes in before a yellow card. Heavy contact. The Jets with a couple of little jabs and counter punches, but you'd have to say basically they're have been in hang-on mode. Here's the clash. It's a fair whack on the noggin from Johnny Katrumbis as well.
And it's that action of throwing his head towards the ball that gives him momentum, of course, as well, towards that shoulder of Donachie, and causes not only the impact, but the pain as well. Donachie certainly played his part in that, hence why he's booked. Again, main protagonist. It's the grand final all over again, Harbs. Katrumbis, Donachie, of course, who was offside in the action of teeing up Costa Barbarouses for eventually what proved to be the winner. Took a touch off Katrumbis.
Donachie here has been pinged for carelessness.
Yeah.
Thereafter, it's completely accidental. It's Katrumbis' head he's tried to head the ball, but It's taken them a long time to decide whether he's right to play or not, and to me that means he's not right to play. The goal scorer makes his way from the field, probably only temporarily.
I know you're big on this. Head knocks. You think discretion is the better part of valour. Take him off, protect the player. Don't leave anything open to risk. I have to say I agree with you. I don't think most football clubs do, unfortunately. Don't think the players do either, in fairness. Anyway, that foul on Katrumbis does give the Jets a good situation here. And Dimi Petratos more than capable. Here's Petratos. It found its way through the wall. And I thought it might have taken a touch. Petratos did too, but Sean Evans says goal kick.
How did that not take a touch? I thought it was a pretty skinny 10 to start with anyway. You get on with it, but I can't wait to see if we're going to get a replay of this.
Here we go.
But how does...
Yeah.
I mean, what on earth is a referee watching? You can even miss the contact, but then look at the spin on the ball and think, well, you know, how many laws of physics does a footballer have to break?
Well, fortunately for Newcastle, Lawrence Thomas has just given them a free hit because he's just played the ball straight out for a throw. Maybe he felt sorry for them. But you're right, clearly it was, or should have been, a corner. It's a clever ball by Georgievski. Katrumbis trying to square it up. Back with us, of course, Johnny Katrumbis after his treatment, as you predicted, Andy.
I think it was a pretty easy one to predict.
Looking to get around Brown. Leaves it for Georgievski instead. Nigel Bogart joining in with the attack. We've seen already in this game his clever footwork. Oh, that nearly slipped through, didn't it, for Georgievski, who would have otherwise been away. There's Bogart again. He thinks he's Pele.
Well, I tell you what, he's just been cut out of the inheritance. His dad, Michael, will be turning. Didn't raise you to play football like that, son.
Twirling the moustache. And disappointment. It's a good touch by Barbarouses meantime. Here's Jai Ingham, who's replaced Kenny Athieu, incidentally, whilst we were watching one of those replays. Antonis, good ball! Oh, that should have been the equaliser for Honda, but he glances it wide. And Newcastle are grateful that they've survived that.
Well, there's been two amazing efforts like this in the game. They should be clipped up and put together. This is beautiful from Antonis. Oh, Honda, magnificent. And the Roy O'Donovan one in the first half, two outstanding examples of players improvising, almost with the ultimate effect. Lockie Jackson can't do much more than that. He's all over Honda. He's got the angle covered, he thinks. He's tracked him into the box, and still, by the shape and position of his body, he gets that deft touch with the head. What a goal that would have been.
Here's Newcastle's second change, and well, you've got your wish, Andy. Johnny Katrumbis didn't play on for much longer. He's going to be replaced by Matt Rydenton. So another all-white on the pitch. There's a fair few of them tonight. Johnny Katrumbis is the match winner at the moment. And after the year he's had with his health, who would begrudge him? Except Victory fans, of course. They've still got a bit more work to do before it proves to be the match winner. Have the Newcastle Jets. Reminder of how important it is for Ernie Merrick's team to win this game. It would take them to within 2 points of Wellington in the 6th and last finals place. So we get towards the pointy end of the season. Finals hope still very much alive, or would be for Newcastle if they can retain their lead here. Broxham looking to release Barbarouses. Try as they might, Victory just have not been able to find a way through. Kenny Athieu has put the ball in the back of the net, but Corey Brown flagged for offside. That's as close as they've come to an equaliser. They have scored in 25 consecutive home matches victory. Honda. Broxham's touch. Rue. They're starting to queue up here. Honda again. Little sand wedge into the box. Just glanced off the head of Jai Ingham, and Lachlan Jackson says, anyway, we'll do, I don't care.
But he's been very alert tonight, Lachlan Jackson. I mean, that could have gone wrong. The ball over the top. You can see defenders just lumber into attackers there and concede penalties. He has been very sharp tonight, Jackson.
Ingham trying to steal a march on Bogart. Newcastle standing firm for the time being. They're going to make another change presently. Kane Shepherd is ready to join us. Here is that change now, and it's going to be for Roy O'Donovan, so a like-for-like replacement with 10 to go. So, an Englishman for an Irishman. There's a joke in there somewhere.
Orchestrated by a Scotsman.
Exactly, there we go. Boom, boom.
Well, what did the Englishman say to the Irishman about the Scotsman?
We could go on with that one probably all night. Here's Broxham. Diana, square for Donachie. Honda has drifted into a handy little pocket of space. A little bit too clever for his own good there. Japanese superstar, but the header doesn't go where it should have gone for Newcastle. Instead, I think James Donachie is popping up on the left wing. Looking for an assist, perhaps. Broxham. Georgievski stands his ground. Kept in by Donachie again in that left wing position. That's really well played. Antonis. Good work by Georgievski. Storm Roux had to think about the shot. They're queuing up Barbarousis across the face. Antonis' touch. Moss is brave. Ingham can't jab it goalwards. And then fouls Georgievski in the process. And Newcastle survive again.
Well, I mean, this is number 3 for Glenn Moss. This is just desperation. Firstly, at the start of this phase, it was Georgievski. I mean, that, again, it's incredible. It's so high risk. Because you miss the ball or you slightly miss time and it's a penalty. But he got it right. Maybe a bit fortunate to get it right. But fortune, as they say, favours the brave, and Moss has been outstanding. If the Jets can hang on for this tonight, it's because of 3 key contributions from Glenn Moss.
Yeah, it's been very, very good. And whilst you're watching that replay, Victory have made their 3rd and final change. Raul Baeta has been withdrawn, and Anthony Lesiotis is with us for just his 6th A-League appearance. And that's a like-for-like change as well. Very busy, very aggressive midfielder who crossed town to sign for Victory from City, the outset of the campaign. Time started to run a little short for Kevin Muscat's team. Is it going to be 4 matches without a win going into the Champions League campaign?
The cash flow's not looking great, points-wise. The football's been good tonight. It does swing on that Katrumbas goal. Newcastle's defence, or Newcastle's lead, heavily fortified by the work of goalkeeper Glenn Moss.
The Jets edging ever closer to a first win in Victoria in 1,219 days. April 2015. Last time they won a game in this state. Here's Donachie. As Newcastle retreat deep once again. Roux. overhits it by quite some distance.
Yeah, the quality hasn't broken down on many occasions for Melbourne Victory tonight. It certainly did then from Storm Root. And they haven't really got a lot of time to be wasting now.
His face never gives much away, does it, Ernie Merrick? Here's the Aslive ladder again. Just a reminder that Newcastle would close the gap on Wellington to just 2 points. Victory's premiership hopes would be, well, let's be honest, pretty much over. And of course, Perth can stretch that lead out again tomorrow if they can defeat Melbourne City at Amy Park. No wonder Kevin Muscat is blowing out the cheeks in frustration.
What to do? How do we break this down? Got the magic on the field. Honda's been outstanding again tonight. Barbarousse is as sharp as attack as well. One disallowed goal correctly for offside. Some really promising attacks denied by the brilliance of Glenn Moss. Frustrating for Victory.
Deng's header. Lesiotis need to get more distance on that one. Ugarkovic picking up the scraps. Going the roundabout routes before the back heel. Georgievski. Kantarovski. Full credit to the Jets. They've hung in there. Had to weather a fair bit of Victory pressure, but good desperation defending at times. Kept forward by Ugarkovic. It's useful run by Shepard. Petratos! That is a wonderful save by Lawrence Thomas to keep Victory in the game. Let's be honest about that, because that is probably curtains if he scores there, Dimi Petratos.
Well, that's it. And this guy is such a smart player, Kane Shepard. We keep talking about it. So Glenn Moss has pulled off 2 great saves. Thomas has done 2 now. Off Ugarkovic in the first half. This is remarkable, really remarkable. Petratos must think he's won the game. But Thomas outstanding in the Melbourne goal.
As he was in the grand final last season against the Jets. Petratos with the corner. Goalkeeper again with the punch. Ferried out by Georgievski. Petratos to drive it in low. Victory deal with that one easily, but can't get it clear. Brown with a risky back pass and stolen by Rodenton. Just couldn't readjust in time, and the angle was a bit narrow. And you can sense the desperation now for the Victory fans, urging their side forwards. Honda drives into space and then finds Barbarousse. Lesiotis. Just lost that momentum that Honda's purposeful run gave them in the first place. Jets back in numbers now. Lesiotis trying to pick his way through. There's an arm across. Victory get a free kick. Petratos the offender. Broxham. Squared up by Brown. Antonis. Intelligent run by Roux. Helped on by Ingham. Bogard gets it partly clear. These are nervous moments for the Jets. Into the final 2 minutes. Oh, turned over cheaply. Oh, Dimi Petratos. Thomas off his line, but he can't hit the target. Almost a David Beckham moment, or Orlando Engelar in A-League terms a few years ago.
On target, Thomas is not getting
Yeah, I agree.
You reckon he was beaten too, huh?
100%.
So well done, Dimi Petratos, for the instinct. 2 chances now to finish it for the Jets. Thomas denied him the first time. His technique just letting him down on that occasion. But desperate times now for Victory. Now they'll pump on and push on. Can Newcastle keep it together and then maybe even dream of a breakaway goal to ease their nerves?
Going to be a victory throw. Last minute of the regulation 90. Told there were going to be 5 additional minutes. So still a bit of work for the Jets to do. How's your nerves back home in Newcastle? I think I heard a few swear words all the way from the hunter there, perhaps.
Be a lot of nervous people watching. There's a crew up where I live, a bit north coast. They've got the local league team nomination nights coming up, so they're all huddled around bits of paper, putting players in different teams and eye on the football tonight.
Big Jets area, you know that. Our team is doing them proud at the moment. Going to stoppage time now, the first of those 5 minutes.
Well, Melbourne Victory have done enough to get something out of the game. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They've played some sparkling football. They've forced some outstanding work from Glenn Moss. Not yet to be for the defending champions.
Corey Brown. Donachie. And they unpick the lock. Rue finds a passing lane. Honda. Front clear by Kantarowski. Hot night in Geelong. And there's the curse of this venue about to strike again for Victory. They've not had an awful lot of success at this venue. It's an intelligent ball by Petratos, and Shepherd is bowled over. It's going to be a card. And of course, James Donachie booked about 10-15 minutes ago. Second yellow. Victory are down to 10 for the second game running, and again it's a central defender. Niedermeyer last week, Donachie this. A little bit later on in the game though.
Yeah, and definitely, and it's getting late in the game, maybe a bit tired, but you're James Donachie, you've got to know your opponents. It's clumsy in the end, but you've got to know your opponents, and you're that far out from goal, and if you're James Donachie, you're going to beat Shepherd in a foot race every day of the week. So you don't have to, if you're capable of withholding yourself and controlling yourself, you don't have to get involved in that tangle.
Well, does that finally take the sting out of Victory? Here's a little statistical fact for you. That red card is Melbourne Victory's 50th in the A-League, the first team to achieve that in inverted commas. Still time for them to get something out of the game. It's been a very brave performance though by Newcastle. They're nearly there. Here's Petratos. Jugarkovic onside. Shepherd at the near post. Chance for Petratos, and he's placed his effort wide. He's had a few tonight, Dimi Petratos. Couldn't provide the killer touch.
Well, I'd say 3 in the last 8 to 10 minutes. Onside, good call from the assistant. It's a good setup. Petratos has missed the target last 2 of 3 efforts. Thomas denied him. That would have won it. Then the long-range speculator from halfway, wide, and then into injury time. Petratos seals the 3 points with that being on target. Can't find the target. The Victory a man down, a goal down, but not yet dead.
As mentioned, they've scored in 25 consecutive home matches. Is that run about to end tonight? Here's Antonis. Barbarouses didn't read it. Topo Stanley will see it out. Vital seconds wasted.
He's been terrific tonight. Topo Stanley had a couple of really awkward moments against Barbarouses early, but honestly looking fantastic, Nikolai Topo Stanley.
And there are a few Jets fans here tonight, and they're making themselves heard. And why not? This would be a famous win for the Jets.
What tonic.
There they are. Well, it's 2 of them anyway. A few more behind. There's the Victory fans. Still vocal, but time running very short for their team. That's a smart header by Champness. Will they drive for the second goal or head for the corner? Champness wants a second. And Thomas has got to get it up the other end of the field as quick as he possibly can. It's surely all on this for Victory. They've won the previous 2 meetings against Newcastle this season. Previous 3 going back to last year's grand final, but they've just not been able to find a way through. It looks as though it's going to be 4 matches without a win as they head towards the Asian Champions League. Petratos, could they seal it here? Champness off the base of the post. And they still can't quite kill the game off. Time nearly up though. Petratos again. Dimi Petratos! Oh! That is magnificent from Dimi Petratos. Pick that one out. That is game, set and match. And well might he strut towards that corner flag. Wow, that was a hit of real quality. He's damaged the corner flag, probably irreparably, but enhanced his reputation with that touch, and ultimately this finish coming up, Andy Harper.
Well, you just thought the Jets don't want to take the buffer. And Demi, who's been blazing away all season with just seconds left, says, have a piece of this. I've come close, I've messed up a couple of times, but that is perfect. What a shot.
I'd be lucky that he's not picked up a booking as well for damage done to the corner flag, but wow. That was a very exciting hit, just his 4th of the season, and it's one that sets the seal on the perfect night for Ernie Merrick and Newcastle on his return to Victoria.
Oh, he looks over the moon. Over the moon,
doesn't
Ernie?
he just?
Wow.
Old stone face, Ernie. Inside, he's delighted. As victory is confirmed for Newcastle over Victory. A vitally important win for the Jets. Glenn Moss certainly had a big part to play. Some great saves. At time they rode their luck. Kenny Athew had one ruled out. But it is the Jets who maintain the rage in their bid for finals football as Ernie Merrick and Kevin Muscat go to exchange a handshake. There's not a huge amount of warmth in the exchange, but Ernie Merrick will